Hi, welcome to Aging Gracefully, where seniors are celebrated and growing old is appreciated and respected. My name is Kathryn Eyring, and you might see me around town in various locations teaching senior yoga, strength and balance classes. I'm a health coach and a personal trainer, and I am so happy that I have so many opportunities to work with aging adults because it is my very favorite thing to do. And today, I am so fortunate to have Mr. Bob Wicktora here with me. So welcome, Bob.
Oh,
Thanks
thank you
for coming. So Bob and I got to know each other through my training at a gym that you go to.
Right.
And in fact, I can say your age, right?
Yes.
You'll be 95 a week from today.
Right.
And you always amaze me because I call you my strong man. You're stronger than so many men that were so much younger than you. And you just amaze me. And you just became one of my favorite people to be around. We get to know each other quite well through that experience.
Yes.
So we continue to be friends outside of the gym at this point. And it's nice because I've gotten to know you even more in depth. So thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So some of the things I love about you is that, well, you have a strength that's obvious to me inside and out. For one, at almost 95, to be showing up at the gym regularly was pretty amazing. But you always have such a kindness to you and a smile. Like you were my happy person always coming in there that I knew I would enjoy. I've never heard you complain, and I love your attitude.
I try to like everyone.
Well, good. And you are unstoppable, it seems. And I think that's wonderful, too.
Well, thank you.
Sure thing. So, almost 95, did you ever have like this idea in your head, like, I am going to live to be 100 or whatever it was? Did you have a goal in mind of?
Not as far as how long I would live. I never gave it a thought while I was growing up, you might say. I think I'm fortunate to have lived this long, and I'm grateful that I can get around on my own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, and you do live independently in an apartment on your own.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
It's a bachelor den. You know, it's not too much to take care of, and sometimes it gets cluttered a little bit.
And in senior apartments, there's often a lot of women around. So
yes, more women than gentlemen.
That's for sure. So what would you attribute your longevity to? Is it because you worked out, you always ate healthy, you surrounded yourself around the right people? What would you say?
I think because I had a happy life, you know, and I did exercise a lot, especially when I was younger. But then as you get older, it's a little harder, you know. Mm-hmm. And
harder to be motivated, for one thing.
Well, I think I still had the motivation. But sometimes I look around and I think, I have to take care of that. But I don't do it right away. I have to think about it for a while, you know, before I ever get around to doing it.
Right. Yeah.
But getting back to
longevity.
Longevity, I think that happiness is part of it, and activity. Oh, I love the outdoors, fishing. My sons take me fishing all the time. And that's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we
Good.
go on picnics and things. I love the outdoors.
I do too. I am full agreement. So, do you ever feel like if you could go back to a certain age, if there was this magic wand, would you do that, or would you stay right where you are?
I think I would stay right where I am now, because I live a good life, really. But in my youth, there were some things I would change, or I wouldn't do, you know.
Right. Which we don't need to elaborate on, but I think that's probably the same for all of us at
Yes.
any age where we think, oh, if I could do over. But still, your point is that even if you could go back, you're very much in the present, enjoying your life right now,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
And I think that's wonderful. Would you say you have, though, unfinished business to do, unfinished plans, things that you are still looking forward to doing all the time?
I really don't have any plans. I do want to live a while yet, but only if I'm able to get around. So that is what I concentrate on.
Being independent.
Yes, in a lot of different ways. I take pills. You know.
Are these magic pills?
Oh gosh.
So you take the
But-
medicines as prescribed.
Yeah, that helps a little bit. But I think I don't have any real plans. You know, it's too late in my life to start something.
Do you think? How about projects? Do you ever work on
Oh, my
more
gosh.
short-term projects?
Well, yes, but I'm sort of limited now because I don't have a workshop
Like
that
you
I
used
used to have. Oh my gosh. I made a lot of things. I loved working with wood. And so,
Yeah. I think we've talked a little bit, and we'll get more into it. You're very good with your hands. You're very much a hands-on kind of guy and love to be building and
Yeah.
creating and that. Very good. So let me ask this. I see you have a cup of coffee over here. I know you enjoy your coffee. Is that what gets you up in the morning, or tell me what's your excitement in the morning? Your motivation to get out of bed?
excitement. Well, I do wonder what the day is going to be like. But I get up and I make my breakfast. Coffee is one of the things. And it's usually a good breakfast. And then I will sit and read for a while because I do like to read. And after an hour or so, then I will do a few exercises. In my room, I have a small barbell, dumbbells, the elastic things.
Oh, the stretch bands. Okay.
Stretch bands, right. And after about an hour of that, I'm really tired, you know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is stretching, stretching the muscles and then using them. I like to get my blood flowing.
Are you laying in your bed? Are you in the floor, in a chair?
Sometimes on the floor, sometimes in my bed.
So you get yourself up and down from the floor still?
I usually have to have help. I put one hand on a dresser or the bed, and I get up.
Oh, you do it by yourself, but you mean your help is just being
Yeah.
able to hold on to something.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I wish everybody, all the viewers would know that I think it's so important to be able to get up and down from the floor up all your life.
Oh,
Like, that is definitely a goal
I
for
used
me.
to have trouble because I weighed a lot more, and I hadn't been working out for a while. I weighed over 200 pounds, 209, I think it was. And
But you're a tall man.
yes, and it was hard to get up. I would have to crawl on my hands and knees over to something and then
Get yourself.
get myself up. Now I'm a lot better.
Oh, good. And you said you lost 35 pounds or
Yes.
something, right?
Yes.
And you feel good at this weight.
Yes, I could lose
It looks
more.
like you're in the perfect weight.
Well, I'm not spry.
Well,
You
you
know-
can say I'm spry for my age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think back of how it used to be and how it is now. You have to make adjustments. If you don't make adjustments, you don't have a good attitude toward growing old.
And maybe a little bit of acceptance,
Yes,
right? As you make
yes.
these adjustments, like it just is what it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
Well, I know you love your family so much. You have talked to me so often about the family. Can you talk a little bit now? Even though I already know quite a bit. Tell me a little bit about your family.
okay, well, when we were married, I was 9 years older than my wife. But she was a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, when I first met her, I didn't think I was going to marry her. But she turned out to be a lot of fun. And so, as a matter of fact, she and I were going to the University of Cincinnati at the time. She was going for her master's degree, and she got it in English literature.
Okay.
And a lot of people think, literature, what the heck? That's not very important, but it is. Oh, she was a wonderful writer. I have one of her exam papers that the professor had given her 4 A's and a line and an A under it. And he wrote, "This is one of the best exams I have ever read."
Wow.
So her mind was a lot better than mine. But anyway, I got my degree, and that's where we met. And she was from Cleveland.
You lived in Cincinnati area,
Yes, we did
right?
at
That's
that time.
where you
Yeah.
were raised.
And so after we were married, it wasn't too long. It was about a year when she gave birth to our oldest son. And I remember him so well. And we were very happy. Well, Christmas, the presents and everything.
Oh, children
And,
just
yes.
change everything and make it delightful.
It wasn't too long. It was actually 14 months later, I had my second son. And
Now you're busy.
he was he was a little bit different, but he was so much fun. He was quick-witted. This is after, not when he was real little, but he grew up to be very, very quick and very artistic. And unfortunately, he died at age 50 of a brain tumor. And
that is so sad.
that was very sad for us. But we still had, okay, I'll get back to...
yeah, there's more in line yet.
My third son, he was the adventurer and the daredevil and the naughty boy,
I have one of those too.
Yeah, he got into trouble,
Oh,
and but he turned out to be very good.
isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Thank goodness they straightened up.
And then I had that was about 3 years difference, and then Alice came along, I think in about 4 years, and she was my little girl. I used to refer to her as, I still do. I still
Aww.
do. She was very, very pretty. And I remember she came into the place that I worked, and to see me about something. And all the guys came over. Bob, is that your daughter? They were really enthused about her. And that was the 4 children. We still have 3, and they all get along wonderfully. And I get along with my daughter-in-law, both of them. And my daughter had a little trouble in her marriage, and she's going with somebody else now. But I like him.
Oh, that's
So,
wonderful.
yeah.
And you have grandchildren.
Oh, yes.
How
yes.
many?
I have 5.
They're such blessings. You have
Let's see.
great-grandchildren as well? Great-grandchildren too?
I have 3
Okay,
great-grandchildren.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 boys and a girl. And well, at first, the 2 boys, they were, about a year and a half apart. They were kind of shy, whenever they would see me, because they lived, they were army brats, you might say. And I didn't get to see them very often. So when they saw great-grandpa, they were kind of, a little bit
Shy.
reserved, yes.
Okay.
But now they're great. They're not shy.
And they're growing
They're a lot
up.
of fun.
Children are just so wonderful. I think that the more we are around youth, the more youthful we feel. Like we just absorb their energy.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. So that being said, that leads to another question as well. Have you been able to have some younger friends, a mix of ages as well? Because I know at 95, you have had a lot of loss as well. So have you been able to have a mix of young and old friends, or is that more challenging?
Well, it is because, all of my buddies, the group that I used to hang out with in Cincinnati, I am the last one. All the others have passed away. But there is one man who we were great friends. But then he moved to Toledo. Well, that's not far away, but it's far enough so that, we can't communicate to him too much. And let's see, who else?
And then where you live, you have many people around you that
yes.
are your friends, but there's the good and the bad there too, right? Because they're
Some are,
aging themselves.
yes, some are very, I don't know what you would call them. They're not very friendly.
I think some are too old for you.
Yes, I like to talk to them, and sometimes in the pub we have a real good time talking and laughing. You know, I enjoy that so much. And there are some of the ladies that are younger. You know, they're not all as ancient as I am, and but. I'm limited in that I don't get out enough to make friends. You know, I used to.
The newer friends.
Yes, yes.
Start over.
Yeah.
Well, you've got me.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we never really talked much about your career. Just before we sat down here for this show today, we talked a little bit. And I think it's interesting at 95, really, about a third of your life has been beyond retirement years. So it never really was something I thought about that much, asking you about what you did prior to retirement and your working career, because our fun is right now in the here and now at this age. But let's talk a little bit about some of what you did over the years, because you did a lot. We talked about your ability with your hands, and I know.
Well, my first job, my first real job, was in a aircraft factory. We made parts for aircraft engines, and some were pretty large, some were very small. And they had to be within a certain tolerance. So it was not you couldn't do a sloppy job.
Right.
You know. So that was my first job. And then I was drafted. And I left that job, and they interviewed me, and they thought that since I had that machine shop experience, that I would make a good mechanic. And so I went to the mechanic school, but something happened, I don't know what, but over a period of a couple of weeks, my eyes swelled up, and I was put in the hospital. And they would check me every day. And I remember one doctor he would have an instrument that he would look into my eye, but he would get right up close, and he chewed gum. And he would chew gum, and my whole face would move with his. But anyway, they finally determined that I wasn't going to get better. They got me stable, and then they gave me a discharge. And I went home, and for a while I did nothing. You know, I was
recuperating.
Yeah, I was sort of recovering,
and
I still had a lot of friends there. They were still, you know, like some of them were in the service, some of them weren't.
And that left you with some damage as well,
oh,
visually.
Yes.
Right?
This eye is very limited. I have peripheral vision. This one was spared because it did not affect the retina directly. And
you don't even know the name of what they would have called this, right? It's just some type of
Well, I think at the
inflammatory
time when there was
disease.
this inflammation, it was retinitis,
Okay.
and it left scars. And but as long as I had this one, I could still get a driver's license.
And you still do drive, by
Oh,
the
I
way.
do. Yes,
I know.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
careful. And my daughter is, she's an aggressive driver. I keep telling her, slow down, stay back. But anyway, I'm very careful when I drive.
So then back to at that time, then you took maybe a little time off and then resumed into career again.
Yes, that's when I went into partnership with my brother in a hardware store and in a very affluent neighborhood, and we did quite well for a while. And they had the GI Bill, and I thought, oh, I'm going to take advantage of that. I should have as soon as I got out of the service. But I had waited anyway. So I thought that finally I said, I'm going to take advantage of the GI Bill. And they paid for most of it. I had some money saved up, and of course I used that, but I got my degree, and that's where I met my wife.
Okay.
And she influenced me. She lived in Cleveland. She influenced me to come to Cleveland and get a job here. So I did.
Was that a challenge for you? Did that feel like hard to do? Like, oh, I've got to start over?
I was very well accepted, I'll put it that way, you know? And they thought that I filled their requirements, and so I was the sporting goods coordinator for Federal's department store. Their headquarters was in Detroit, but they had stores in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and I was it was my job to go around to each store to make sure that the department managers were doing a good job. And it was travel. One of the purchasing agents, this was after my wife had we had 4 children, and they were all still in school, and she stayed home with them. She made sure that she would until they could be on their own. And I'm losing track.
You were coming to Cleveland.
Oh, yes, okay. And I was this sporting goods coordinator. One of the purchasing agents asked me if I would want a sales job selling sporting goods to, a territory.
Okay.
And I went home and I told my wife, and she said, oh my God, I've got these 4 little kids, you'd be gone all week? And I said, yes, I'd be home on Friday and for the weekend. And I could tell she didn't, because she had her hands full with those 4.
Right.
So I thought about it a bit, but then I told them, no, I'm not going to. So I stayed doing what I was doing.
All the children were born in the Cleveland area.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
so
they
you came
were
here.
They were not very old.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and Alice was just a little thing. And they were a handful, you know, for,
As children are.
yeah.
Yes.
So,
So then you didn't take that. Continuing on in your career, did you make many changes?
oh, yes, after that, let's see, which one did I go to first? I went to Forest City.
Oh, right.
And
I remember that store.
no, wait a minute.
It doesn't really matter
I
what
went to
order.
J.C. Penney,
Ah,
and I had the sporting goods department there, and one of the men that used to come in, we used to talk a lot. He worked at Forest City, and he said, "How would you like to come and work for me at Forest City?" And I said, "Okay." And it was a better deal. So I transferred to Forest City, and it wasn't too long after that he's transferred to Chicago. But anyway, I worked for several years there, and there were some things that, well, anyway.
moving on then.
Yes.
That's okay. And
And I went then to J.C. Penney, and then to Silverman's as a
right.
store manager, first an assistant manager, setting up this Biddulph Avenue store, and then I was the manager there. It was, and I stayed there for, I guess it was 13 years.
Until they
yes.
closed the store.
Yeah,
Is that right?
and then I retired.
At what age?
At what age? I must have been 70.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I went beyond the 65, yes.
Right. Oh, wonderful. So would you say retirement is a great time of your life?
Oh, I thought, yes. Oh, boy. I could sleep late and everything. But my wife was still working. And I would drive her to work
Because she was
in
younger.
the morning. Yeah. And she would take the rapid back home, and I would pick her up then. But it was, that's when I did a lot of things. I built things, and
You had all the tools. In
yes.
your
Oh, I
garage
had.
and-
I did, and you know, I could use some of those tools now, but I don't remember which son has what particular tool.
Right.
I had a lot,
That's wonderful.
but they're putting them to use, so they're.
So I have one more question. What advice would you give to a younger person? And advice on how you would suggest they really live life fully?
Okay. They should be truthful and do a good job at whatever they're doing. They might be starting out just as a stock boy, but if you do a good job, they will notice and you will advance.
And besides that, you feel good about yourself.
Yes,
Do you agree?
yes,
Feel that you're more valuable.
yes. But they should also be truthful and what was the word that I'm thinking? I have trouble sometimes.
We talked about sincerity.
Sincerity, yes. Oh, yes. And
If you're,
respect.
oh,
You
yes.
have to have respect for your fellow man, no matter who they might be.
or what challenging situation they might be in.
Yes, yes. There are many, many unfortunate people who should be given a chance, but they are ignored because of their status. You know, that's unfortunate. But I think it's getting better.
An awareness, a public awareness more.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what needs to be done by the politicians, reduce the tuition.
Oh.
It's
So more
astronomical.
Right.
And also the pharmaceutical business. Those are two things that are so important. But getting back to what a young person, they should try, they should take chances. Because I didn't. I was so sure. I had to be sure. I didn't want to endanger my family, because we didn't have a lot of money. And I didn't want to jeopardize our family. And I did have opportunities, which I passed up. Some were my own ideas, some were someone else's ideas.
Yeah, but so you would suggest to a young person,
That
go ahead and take a
that
little...
they don't shy away from taking a chance.
An
If
opportunity.
If they think it over and it sounds good and that they're qualified, they should go for it.
Go for it. Thank you. So we're almost done, but I do have a little surprise for you.
Oh.
Yes. If you can just bear with me just a minute, that surprise is going to come out here. We have our wonderful crew here from ALC TV presenting you with the cake.
Happy
And
birthday.
Wow.
yes.
You're right, that's coming up soon. Oh, wonderful.
Happy birthday,
Oh,
Bob, 95.
Yes. Oh, thank you
We get
so
to be the
much.
first ones to celebrate with you. We're going to sing to
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Oh, thank you. Now I'll make a wish.
There you
Blow
go.
out the candles.
Wonderful.
All right.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, I'm thrilled, really.
Good. So I am just so honored to know you and be your friend and be able to participate in your birthday as well. So with that, we'll conclude. Thank you so much. And for the viewers, if you'd like to email me, if you have any message that I can give to my friend Bob Wicktora, please email me. Tell me what you like about this show. And if you know someone that you think would be a good candidate for me to spotlight, please let me know. And if it is you yourself, don't hesitate as well. Let me know by email.